Hey, it's Des back with another video. On this video, I'm going to talk about the wide players, the role that they play, what's required of them, and what they're supposed to do. So first of all, I'll break it down into different things: what they're required to do in possession, what they're required to do defensively, and what I feel like we can do in the transfer window to support our current wide players. So let's start. So for me, the first thing that's required from our two wingers is they have to offer width. So they have to stay really high and wide. The reason for this is just to ensure that we're stretching the opposition. Sorry, they're stretching the opposition and making sure that their fullbacks are staying really wide and their threats in behind. So that's the first thing they need. They have to stretch the pitch, and because once they stretch the pitch, they create space in the middle, and the space in the middle is what Xhaka and Odegaard are exploiting. So you have this immediately. Martinelli and Saka are playing really wide over there. Once they're playing wide, they create space. They're stretching these kind of places. They're stretching it, therefore creating gaps in here. These are the gaps that the ten and the centre mid are exploiting. The fullbacks are coming in here and things like that. These are the sort of spaces that we're able to exploit because they're stretching the pitch. They're creating more space in the middle. And also the thing is, when we're building up play, I'm sure if we're being pressed a lot, they stand really wide to ensure that they become another option for us. So we can also go really long to them as well. We can go long from deep all the way to them because they're all the way high and they're wide. So the opposition can't leave that way. So their fullbacks are constantly occupied and they're not engaged in any of the things because they have to ensure that they're not just high and wide. Because if the fullback was doing something else and over here or whatever and over here, then straight away from the build up play, we've got centre backs that can play long passes and straight away they can play the pass in and they're in. So therefore the defenders have to occupy them, and therefore you've taken two players out of the game, which creates more space in the middle. That's why we have two wingers that stay really wide and they're offering width, is to create space in the middle, create a constant threat in behind, and occupy two of their players and take them out of the game. So constantly we have two players taking out the game because Martinelli and Saka stay really wide. The other thing that they have to do, again, as I mentioned, because they say that they have to be able to receive long balls. And when I say they have to be able to receive long balls, they have to be able to receive long balls all the way from the back. They have to be able to receive it to their chest, because they're going to be getting the long balls in behind. They have to be able to come chest it, and you've seen Saka do this before. Lean back into the defender, chest it, bring it down, turn and attack in behind. So they have to be able to receive long, receive to the chest, turn and attack space. They also have to be able to receive in behind as well, which is why they have to be quick. Because once they play, because if the goalkeeper Ramsdale is really good at playing long passes, if he spots that the fullback is not what's it called, is not ready, or let's just say the fullback is gazing around and over here, and Saka is in space. We've seen him play that kind of. We've seen Ramsdale play that pass to Martinelli in the past, and the fullback is not too tight on him. Can quickly play that. The goalkeeper or defenders can quickly play that pass in behind. Martinelli can attack that space straight away. Then you can have other players attacking the box, and that's a straight cutback for a goal. So that's why you have to have them being able to have. They have to be quick and be willing to make constant runs in behind to attack, to exploit any space that's in behind. So these are just more ways. You always need more ways to create chances. As I mentioned, you want the centre mid to make those crosses into the box. The same way you want the wingers to constantly make those runs in behind. It just gives you more and more and more ways to create chances. It makes you less predictable. So that's another thing that's required from them. Another thing that's required is 1v1 quality. There's a reason why we're not. There's a reason why when we were linked with Gakpo, I didn't. I think he's a good player. I think he's a player that later on will transition into more of a striker, or in a team whereby the wingers are more like strikers, or constantly in the box, constantly central, because their fullbacks are constantly the ones who's offering width. Our fullbacks don't always offer width on the pitch. They're sometimes inside. So for me, I don't think Gakpo is a player who receives wide and ends up, and he has great dribbling skills. From the videos I've watched, he doesn't seem like that kind of player. So there's a reason why I don't think that, although we've been linked, I don't think we're gonna go for him, because he doesn't offer that that 1v1 threat. Saka offers 1v1 threat. Martinelli offers 1v1 threat. We've been linked to players like Pedro, Neto, who offers that. We were heavily linked with Rafinha, who again offers 1v1 threat. The same with Yeremy Pino, who we're linked with, who offers that 1v1 threat as well. I think these kind of players, I think that's why we're linked with these type of wingers, because we want wingers who can receive the ball with their fullback and then they can make something happen with 1v1. Beat the player, attack the box. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need them to have pace. We need them to be able to run in behind, and we need them to be able to play 1v1. Another thing we need, again, as I mentioned, we need them to be direct dribblers. We don't want them to be always being dribblers who always have to come inside all the time. We need them to be dribblers who can go on the outside, who can come inside, but all the time they're going straight. They're attacking the box immediately. That's what we want. We want for wingers, and this is what we're seeing from Martinelli and Saka. Another thing is movement behind. We need them to make consistent runs from behind all the time. We need our wingers. That's what you see from Martinelli. He makes consistent run behind. Saka has been quiet this season, but he makes constant runs in behind from the right hand side. You see him making it. He hasn't been found so much, but we're gonna see. He's gonna be found soon. I think he's gonna start scoring a lot more goals if we start to find him in there. But he's making a lot more runs into the box this season. We're seeing that from the left as well from Martinelli. He's making a lot of runs into the box as well. This is required, heavily required. We don't need. This is why I've said I don't think we can rely on certain kind of players who don't make runs in behind as our wingers. We need our wingers to be quick, fast, direct dribblers and make off the ball runs into the box. Another thing that's required as well is for them to combine and interchange positions. We need this. We need to see, as we see with Martinelli and Saka. When Odegaard switches, you see Saka come inside. You see it on this side. You see Saka come in here just like this. See you see this kind of situation here. Saka will come in here, Odegaard will go out there, Saka will attack the box. Yeah, Ben White will come in here, he'll overlap. Saka will go in there, and Ben White will overlap him. So you see that and Odegaard will come in here, Saka will come in there as well. You see that with Martinelli and Xhaka and Zinchenko on this side. I think what we require from our wingers, we need them to make interchanging positions and be comfortable in the positions they've interchanged. With Martinelli, we see that a lot with Gabriel Jesus. He makes a lot of switch with Jesus and interchanges his position and attacks the box, and then Jesus switches to the left. So they have to be comfortable playing in the wide areas, comfortable playing in the half spaces, and comfortable when they attack the box. So we need them to be able to interchange in positions. What we also need for them to be able to do is to play creative passes from wide, be that short passes or long passes. We saw this from Martinelli for the goal. I think this might have been the third goal against Bournemouth, the one where he received the ball from Odegaard. He received the ball from Odegaard from a free kick on this side. He beat the fullback and crossed the ball into the back post to Xhaka, who then passed it to Saliba, who then scored. So Xhaka was here, Saliba was here on the edge of the box. Martinelli received the ball from Odegaard here, doing the free kick. He beat the fullback, crossed the ball on the box. Xhaka crossed it back, and then Saliba scored a goal. So we need the winger to be able to create chances through long passes into the box, be that a cross, be that a cross where you've an in-swinging cross into the box, or create chances through quick short passes. We saw this with the other goal that we saw. Let me put this back in position again. We saw this for the goal that we scored. What goal was it? The goal that Odegaard scored against Bournemouth. We saw Ben White again here. Saka came in here, quickly played, pulled the fullback in, Ben White overlapped. Saka played the pass to Ben White. Odegaard ran into the box. Ben White cut back, and then Odegaard scored. So we need them to be able to create situations and chances through short passes or long passes. That's what we require from the wingers. Defensively, what we need for them to do is in the build-up play, we need them to consistently disrupt the opposition. That's why you see a lot of heavy pressing from Martinelli and Saka. As soon as the opposition are trying to play out the back, they're consistently pressing them, pressing the fullbacks, pressing the centre-backs, so they can't build up properly. So we need wingers who are active, play with a high work rate, and they're consistently pressing. Another thing we need from them is for them to press the ball on so if let me go through this again. Let's say the ball, or just explain that. Let's say the ball is lost high up the pitch. Say we're trying to attack the ball. Actually, I'll just use it. Let's say, for example, in that situation, Saka lost the ball here whilst trying to pass to Ben White. We need, for both wingers, what they are required to immediately, as the ball is lost, start pressing straight away. They have to start pressing immediately. When the ball is lost here, they have to start pressing immediately whilst the fullback is here to support the press so we can get the ball back. They have to press immediately. So our wingers are required to press. They're also required, as I mentioned, we always defend in a 4-4-2 defensively. The only two up there is Odegaard and Gabriel Jesus. The two wingers, Martinelli and Saka, they drop back into 4-4-2. So we need wingers who, with what we require from our wingers, to drop back into that 4-4-2 deep and defend. So we can't have wingers whereby they're being lazy and they don't track back or anything like that. We have to have quick players who they're going to attack and they're going to come back. That's why I mentioned before that our wingers work really hard. They're in, for me, probably top 3 for the hardest working wingers in the league, because their role requires them to do so much. They have to press, they have to stay high, stay wide, make constant runs in behind, interchanging positions, make runs in behind, and they still have to drop all the way deep and defend in a 4-4-2 and defend deep and track back. So that requires players who are disciplined and players who are willing to work hard throughout the whole 90 minutes. And when you look at our team, there's nothing on the bench that can replicate what Saka and Martinelli offers us. And for us to be able to compete this season, and for us to be able to be consistent throughout the whole season, we need to have another player in the squad that can rotate with them in case of an injury, or in case just to give them a rest, or even just to change the game in case one of them is not having a good game. We need to have someone on the bench who can come in and replace what they offer, and we have nothing on the bench for that. This is why I said in the transfer window, Rafinha would have been great because he can play on both sides and he offers all these things that's required of that position. But obviously, we couldn't get him. The other two that we have been linked with recently is Yeremy Pino and Pedro Neto. For me, of those two, I think Yeremy Pino, from videos I've seen, he looks the most he looks more calmer, he looks more kind of experienced in that position. Like he's not rushing things. Like he's got all these tools that I've mentioned, but he's also a lot calmer on the ball than Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto, for me, he's a lot more explosive than Pino, but from what I've seen, it's like everything is rushed all the time. He rushes the dribbling, he rushes the passing in the final third, the long pass. He's forcing it to happen rather than thinking, okay, hold on, the defender is marking me tight, so I can't do this. Rather than just rushing across and then losing the ball, I can just come back, try to interchange, try to play a few passes, and then start the play again. But then he just tries to force it all the time, and then ends up losing the ball. So that's something that I'm not liking too much. Of course, he can be coached into it because he's got the tools, so he can be coached. But I feel like of those two, Yeremy Pino seems the more ready to make that leap, or ready to jump into our team and make a difference. But one player I'll mention, despite his age, that I think will make a big difference to us, that's Wilfried Zaha. Zaha. We could have had this guy a long time ago when we signed Nicolas Pepe. He for me, despite his age, will make a big difference for us. He's got everything I've mentioned, that's required of this role. He can offer that. He can offer every single thing. And also he'll be playing in a team whereby he's not the main guy, so he doesn't have 3 players on him all the time. Because on the other wing, he's going to have Saka, who defenders have to mark all the time as well. He's going to have Martinelli, who defenders have to mark all the time. So he's not just going to be, he's not going to play 4v1 in every single game because he's the main guy of the team. Zaha would be great for us, despite the fact he's 29 years old. If we accept that Martinelli and Saka are the future, then I have no issue with his age, because for me he doesn't seem like he's declining, and it doesn't matter if he gives us 3-4 years or 3 years. That's fine. Because that gives Saka and Martinelli the competition they need, the third option they need to ensure that they're not playing so many games. It gives us a ready player that for the Premier League that's ready to play and ready to come into the team. Of course, Zaha is not the one for the future, but if Saka and Martinelli are the ones for the future, then I don't see anything wrong with having Zaha. Anyways, I'll cut the video short right there. That's what I think of the wide areas. Thank you guys for watching.